All right, guys, this will be the trade for video. So this trade was between Kless and Grayson. Kless received Drake London and Chris Olave, and Grayson received A.J. Brown and Baker Mayfield. So looking at the statements from both managers, Kless says he picked up the quarterback 4 and Matthew Stafford off of waivers, and he was looking to pick up value for Baker. He says A.J. Brown has been frustrating, and he's happy with London and Olave, who will start at the wide receiver and flex positions. He believes Drake London is better for fantasy and that the Eagles have too many weapons for A.J. Brown to be reliable week to week. Grayson says A.J. Brown will take advantage of easy matchups and is going to get the ball more. He believes Baker is just as good as Joe Burrow in the 6-point passing format, and he believes he had enough wide receiver depth to do Olave, but he is going to miss Drake London, and he needed more ceiling on his team. So looking into the players, I will put the players Kless received on top and the players Grayson received on the bottom. So first player here is Drake London. Drake London is currently the wide receiver 23, again by average, averaging 13.5 fantasy points per game. A pro for Drake London is he's the clear wide receiver 1 in a condensed offense. It's really just Bijan and him, Kyle Pitts, and the other receivers kind of mix in a little bit, but those are the two main impact players for the Falcons. And the negative is Michael Penix has struggled this year. He's had 2 really good games and 2 really bad games. So the next player is A.J. Brown. He's currently the wide receiver 49, averaging 8.4 fantasy points per game. A pro for A.J. Brown is he's an elite NFL receiver who can dominate games when given the opportunity. And then a con for him is the Eagles have been extremely committed to the run game this year. And just in general, the Eagles have a lot of weapons that they use, whether it be Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, or both of their tight ends. Looking at the next set of players here, Chris Olave is currently the wide receiver 31, averaging 11.8 fantasy points per game. A pro for him is he's the wide receiver 1 with a high target share in the Saints offense. But a con for him is the Saints have a pretty limited offense. They don't have a lot of big plays, and he's kind of just been that high volume receiver that doesn't get a ton of deep targets. Those have primarily been Rashid Shaheed in the past for the Saints. But moving on to the next player is Baker Mayfield. He's currently the quarterback 4, again by average, and he's averaging 24.8 fantasy points a game. A pro for him is he's an established high-volume fantasy quarterback. Baker has been great. The past 2 seasons, he's been great so far this season. He's had a different offensive coordinator each of those seasons. So at this point, I mean, Baker Mayfield has proven that he just actually is that good. So I don't have a negative for Baker for that reason. Good offensive line, great receiver core. So looking at the lineups now for Kless's lineup, I think this was an essential move for his team. He breaks up that Eagles duo and creates an avenue for him to have bigger weeks. When you have Saquon and A.J. Brown as your top 2 picks, it hurts that ceiling. So now he brings in Drake London. Now he brings in Chris Olave. I personally like Stephon Diggs at this point over Chris Olave, but A.J. Brown, Debo, Diggs, or Olave there is a very, very solid wide receiver group. At this point, I believe all the running backs on this team are running back 2s, Saquon, Rachaad White, Chase Brown, and Kenneth Walker. So I would say that's the weak spot for Kless's team. But like you said, Matthew Stafford is a great pickup for his team. He's been great so far. The one reason I would prefer Baker over Stafford is just the injury risk, but I think this was a very solid move for Kless's team and creates an avenue for a higher ceiling for his team. So now looking at Grayson's team, again, this being the second trade, I'm now going to encompass everything that Grayson has done today in the trade market. So his new lineup is Baker Mayfield, Jahmyr Gibbs, Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown, Tedero McMillan, Trey McBride, and Lat McConkey. So Grayson sent out 5 players today, and what you are seeing from Grayson is he is fully committing to a high ceiling, low floor team. Derrick Henry and AJ Brown, those are basically the same type of players. They can have great weeks, but they can also have really bad weeks. And then Lab McConkey, he's a guy that I think is just more of a Grayson guy. He's also a low floor player, but can have really big weeks if Justin Herbert goes to him consistently. But this is a clear statement from Grayson and how he is viewing the rest of the league. I think it is a solid decision to make because you look at other teams like my team, Alex's team, and Cal's team that are consistently putting up a high amount of points. Scoring 120 is probably not going to cut it if you're trying to win a championship. So this is a move that creates ways for Grayson to compete with those high ceiling teams. So overall, this is just another trade that I think was done well by both managers and fits both managers' lineup. So that is all I have for this trade video. Assuming there's no trades the rest of the week, the next video will be the Intel video for week 6 next Monday. So thank you guys.